Welcome back to Laughing in the Dark, the podcast where I hang out in haunted places with comedians. I'm your host, Sara Jones. This is our first ever live show. We were invited to join the podcast Casual Sex to do a live show at Kelly's Olympian in Portland, Oregon. This was my first time on stage for this podcast. I did some acting in little plays as a kid, but that's it. I was super afraid to be on stage, but I think I did all right for my first time. I hand-selected some of the best comics in Portland, Oregon that have joined me for episodes of Laughing in the Dark. Becky Braunstein, James Barela, Dan Weber, and Amanda Arnold all joined me on stage for this super fun performance. Here's the live show. I hope you love it. How you guys doing tonight? Yeah, awesome. My name is Sara Jones. I'm the host of Laughing in the Dark, the podcast where I hang out in haunted places with comedians. How many people here, by a round of applause, have heard of Laughing in the Dark?
Yeah!
Okay. And by a round of applause, how many people here have not? Okay, all right. So for those of you that don't know what my show is about, I go to haunted places with comedians, but I'm not a ghost hunter. That's not the point of the show. I think ghost hunting shows are a little gimmicky, kind of fake, and I like to do the history of the place and hang out with the comedian and laugh about it. It's pretty fun. I actually did an episode here with a comedian named Shannon Hunt, who's in the audience, and she's the best. Do you guys know about the basement of Kelly's Olympian?
No.
Okay, so part of the basement is a part of the Shanghai tunnels. Who's heard of the Shanghai tunnels? Yeah, right? Okay. So, cool story. Shannon and I found a creepy door in the basement here, and we heard growling behind the door. Yeah? Yeah. I kind of thought Shannon was fucking with me, to be honest with you. I thought someone was like behind there, and I was just gonna go along with it, right? I opened the door, and nobody was in there. It was really fucking scary. Anyway, this is my first time on stage, so I'm like really horrified of being up here.
You're doing great!
Thank you. Thank you. So we have a really, really good lineup for you tonight. I hand-selected 4 comics in Portland that have done episodes with me. And we're going to just kind of talk about what we do. So without further ado, my first comic is Becky Braunstein. She hung out with me at Lafayette Pioneer Cemetery. Give it up for Becky Braunstein.
Without
That
further
was
ado.
fucking weird. Thank you for being here.
I'm always hoping for some ado, actually. We live for the ado.
Well, let's do a little ado.
We'll get to the ado at the end.
Oh, hello.
Be sure of that.
Okay, so Becky was definitely my bravest comic that's been on the
True.
show, for sure.
For sure.
Easily.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about our experience of where we went and what
Our
we did?
experience. Well, how can I put this? It was like an adrenaline coursing, horrifying experience, start to finish, none of which had anything to do with ghosts or dead people or cemeteries, by the way, but by real live people who presented a very real threat of danger.
That's true.
We did anybody here hear our episode by any chance? Like, clap if you listened to so some of you
All
know
right. Okay.
where this went. So we went to Lafayette Pioneer Cemetery, which is about, what, an hour and a half outside of Portland?
Yeah, about an hour and a half away.
And
In the middle of nowhere.
For sure. Yeah, like banjos in the distance.
Yes.
Sun setting eerily over the horizon.
Beautiful landscape.
Yeah, one twisted tree in the path of the sun. And we get to this little turnoff where the cemetery is going to be. And we go in and start looking at, the signs that say get the hell out of here and like you'll be shot and and we're just like, she's like, come on, let's jump the fence. We just met like that day. We went to Salvador Molly's and we had a little snack and a glass of wine and I'm like, okay, this person might not murder me. And then she drives me out to the cemetery and we just go, I'm thinking, all right, I'm saying yes to life. So we're hiking through the grass and like climbing over the fence.
Yes to life in a place of death, I might say.
For sure. Yeah. Should I not be swearing, by the way?
No. Oh, you know what? They censored their show, but we say fuck that. We don't censor our show. So sorry, we're an explicit podcast, and there's no way we're gonna censor ourselves. It's just like impossible. Great.
Cool, because this is an emotional.
Apologies to X-Ray FM if that's an issue. Great. So we get there and this truck pulls up. And just sits there, and we're like standing outside, looking around. Truck's just sitting there. We're staring at the truck. They're probably staring at us. We can't see in the windows. They're just sitting there, and I think, okay, we are for sure gonna die. Like this is how it ends. That's what you thought. I thought someone was gonna get out and tell us we have to leave.
Sure.
So
that's.
Yeah. So my reaction was to read the no trespassing sign out loud as if I'm just now discovering we're not supposed to be here.
Because
and
that'll
to kind of like play it off like, oh, I guess we can't be here. Becky's approach was a little different.
Yeah, I panicked. I kicked into fight or flight survival mode, and I started talking very loudly about how I had a gun in the car and didn't care if I went back to prison. And I don't know, like adrenaline was raging. Like every cell in my body was screaming, get the hell out of here. And the truck was just sitting there. No one was getting out of this truck to confront us. And so I thought, okay, we're done. Like, let's get in the car. Or we're
and
I'll die.
say, to put it into context, when you are in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night, an hour and a half away from home, sitting outside of a tiny, allegedly haunted, historic cemetery, and a truck comes up to you and stops for minutes at a time, feels like hours.
Yeah.
And they don't get out. I mean, it was probably like teenagers fucking or like doing drugs.
Hopefully.
But still, there was this little part of us that was like, oh shit.
Yeah, we like.
What now?
Yeah, if they're driving a truck, they probably got some kind of gun in there.
Meth.
They're looking to shoot somebody. I don't know. Like,
right.
Why else would you drive out to a cemetery and just park a truck? What the hell were we doing there? Like, we were crazy people too. I don't know. It was a weird chicken standoff. I wonder if they were afraid of us.
Yeah, I'm very scared.
Because I was screaming about how I had a gun, which was not true. I just thought I'd scare them, freak them out. Yeah. I don't care if I go back to prison. I'd probably scare these people. Interesting. But so we thought it was over, but twist, there was a little neighborhood nearby, and we went down and found these people who were just sitting around in their driveway in camp chairs with a fire going in their driveway in a suburban neighborhood, like a bunch of psychos, and then we roll up on them. Awesome. She starts talking to them like this is all very normal, and they're like, oh yeah, people go up there to sell heroin, and it's nothing, I don't know,
I trusted them fully.
She fully trusted them. We went in, we peed in their bathroom, that happened. Strange people, we did. Absolutely
we edited that part out. It's not,
but it was on audio, so thanks for telling me that.
And by we, I mean I.
Yeah, and those people, the whole legend about the town burning down and all those people just happened to be volunteer firefighters. I'm not convinced those people were even real. This was so weird, and you were just talking to them and giving them our social security numbers and shit.
Which I had ready.
And then the cop pulls up, and I'm like, oh my God, this just got so crazy. He saw us, he thinks we were buying heroin, he's gonna kill us. And he rolls down the window, he's like, hey guys, and just keeps driving, what is this?
Yeah.
He knew their names and shit, join the firefighter people.
He said have fun, verbatim.
Oh my God.
And we did. Because then, after that cop left, so I knew that this patrol happens every hour. We really were not supposed to be in the cemetery.
For sure.
So after that cop left, I was like, we've got an hour, let's go. We walked up to the cemetery.
Oh yeah.
And Becky saw a figure.
It was a twisted tree, perhaps.
Maybe.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm not afraid of ghosts. I'm not afraid of witches. I'm not afraid of dead people. I'm afraid of guys in trucks that don't get out.
Yeah.
And Also the cops and people who have little parties in their driveways.
Like, no, those are the best kinds of people. Those people were fucking rad.
No.
I was about them.
No. You should never have any interaction with the people around. Like, neighbors should stay apart. This was so weird.
Yeah.
I mean, they were nice, but like...
They were very nice.
That's what they want you to think. Like, that's how they lure you into their bathroom.
Yeah, we started a conspiracy that maybe the people in the driveway knew the people in the truck.
Yeah, and it was like they do this all the time. Yeah, people go up there to sell heroin, but that's the trap. That's how they get you.
That's what makes you want to go back.
For the heroin?
That's how they get you.
Oh my God. So we went back to the cemetery, and we go, and she's like, you want to sit down? And like... Just like this was normal. Like I must reiterate, we had just met this day, and like she drove into her car. I was feeling very out of control of the situation. I had no control, and we sat in the grass. And she just turns on her little phone light, and starts reading all these little ghost stories, and like I'm feeling like my heart is racing. I've had surgeries I was less nervous for than this shit. And like I could hear people in the distance, ha ha ha, cackling and off in the I don't know, cars coming up and lights going by, and she's just like, yeah, some lady got killed in the cemetery and holy shit, like a bunch of dead people. Imagine that, like we're in their living room, like whatever. Sitting on the
I'm very comfortable in graveyards.
You were frighteningly comfortable in that situation. Like you were the most terrifying thing about this experience. Truly.
I get that a lot.
Just sitting there reading like It was the
in my element.
Yeah, you were for sure. You were horrifyingly in your element. Absolutely.
Yes,
your little phone light lighting up your evil face, just reading your little paper notes. By the way, your little notebook with all the little notes was like the craziest, like psycho killer handwriting. All the letters are like perfectly the same small, tiny little shape. Like, what are you? This is
paranormal.
Wow. It was a great experience, though. We said yes to life, and we met some people, and like we didn't get killed or shot or heroin or anything like that.
Didn't get any heroin out of it.
We peed in a stranger's bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like, how did it end? Like, did we just kind of wrapped it up and went home, and that was the last we talked pretty much until now.
I know. It's
very
really
strange.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming out.
It's nice being in a building, with other people, witnesses.
You don't want to,
hey guys.
You don't want to go to a cemetery after this? No, okay.
No, I'm good. I'm set.
Somebody got fucked in a graveyard. That's what they said in the last show. So those are my people, wherever you are. Hey,
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like the graveyard seemed like a less weird place than the driveway, though. Like those people, I don't know that they were real, and they're telling us the legends of the town and all that. Like that's not some shit you just say. Mm-hmm. That's what they tell you to get. I mean, that happens on the horror movie right before they kill you in the bathroom. Why did we do that? Too much trust,
Yeah, I have a lot of it. I'm very naive.
You are very trusting. That was very frightening. You gave them your business cards. Like, those people are probably out there listening to this right now.
They probably are.
Like, we almost got them,
Yeah. I have very little regard for my life. It's very...
You really need to think about protecting yourself against clear and present danger.
Yeah.
Is that a movie? I don't know.
Depends on what you believe.
Sounds like a Tom Cruise movie. Keanu, who was in that? I don't know. I haven't seen it. Harrison Ford. Shit, I don't know. Okay.
So let's give it up for my bravest comic I've ever had on the show. This is Becky Braunstein.
Seriously? Thank you. If you have not listened to this episode, I promise you, I'm not exaggerating. It's the craziest thing. It's hysterical. Listening to it back, I was just dying laughing, even though I lived it. It's my best work. I'm so proud of it. I'm going to put it on the front page of my website. Like, if you want to know, who I am in a crisis, you've got to check this out. This is, I mean, I'm this crazy all the time, but, I had adrenaline raging through my body through this whole episode, and I did not hold back. It's nuts. Tune in, check it out.
Laughing in the Dark.
Laughing in the Dark.
That's what we do.
Lafayette Pioneer Cemetery. I'm Becky Braunstein. I have a special coming out on Epix, which premieres in October, so check that out on your television. Real excited about that. Yep. I was pretty scared for that too, but in a different way.
Kind of like I'm scared for tonight.
How can you be scared for this when you can sit in a cemetery
than I am on stage? I will say that much.
You gotta figure your life out, man. This is crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's who I am.
It's been a joy. You're wonderful.
You're
wonderful. It's been a fun time.
So
love it. Wow. Yeah, tune in, check it out. Can't recommend my episode enough. I'm not just saying that. Not just saying that. Truly, it is the weirdest night of my life, and we captured it on audio for some reason. So.
And it was amazing.
It was amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
I'm not sure how to conclude this segment, but
all right,
it was fun. Who's next?
So that gives you a little bit of an idea of what I do on my show. My next comic came with me to Old Town Pizza. Round of applause if you've ever been to Old Town Pizza. Yeah, it's a pretty iconic place in Portland. Give it up for James Barela.
Thanks, everybody. I didn't get to do nothing exciting like that. I just sat in a booth and ate pizza.
That's true. So in our episode, we were at Old Town Pizza, which is allegedly haunted by a woman who wears a black dress named Nina. Yeah.
Yeah. She was, I think, a strumpet of sorts. And
Lady of the Night.
Her body was found at the bottom of an elevator shaft. Not known if she was killed before or the fall killed her, but yeah. And then we ate pizza on top of the body.
The body was still
elevator
there.
shaft. We were in the elevator shaft.
It was very tasteful.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part of our episode was while I'm explaining to James that some people see this woman, her name is Nina, here's her history, but they see her as a woman in a black dress and she'll just approach you slowly. And as we're talking, James goes, there's a woman in a black dress walking towards us right now. And I was like, what the fuck? And I look, and a drunk girl in a black and white tie-dye dress walks up to us. We're recording, and she goes, you guys know where the bathroom is? And we were like, yeah, can't help you. We're kind of in the middle of doing something.
Yeah, it was funny.
So that's confirmed.
I was like, there she is. And she was like, what, huh? Oh, hi. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's just probably someone named Karen or something.
Yeah, that was like the most exciting part of our episode.
Thank you.
I didn't get to do any urban spelunking like all these other podcasts. You know,
we normally
didn't go
spelunk.
crawling through rubble of dirty, insane asylums that have been closed for a decade. We just had some pizza and talked. It was yeah. No,
I'm glad you had such a memorable experience.
It was super memorable. I didn't have to travel or nothing. I just drove 5 minutes downtown and ate some pizza. It was pretty great.
Hell yeah. But you have some history with paranormal experience, don't you?
Yeah, we mostly talked about my mom, who was a psychic. My mom was like a palm reader by trade. So when she asked me, "Hey, you got any ghost stories?" I'm like, well, my mom is was reading somebody's palm and then started saw their dead dad behind them and described the guy, and the person freaked out and my mom freaked out, and then mom comes in the living room and tells me what happened. That kind of stuff happens. My mom used her psychic. Okay, so here's the big bar. I don't know. Psychic powers kind of run in my family. One time I remember being a kid and we couldn't find the car keys, and my mom called my sister and was like, "Okay, Lori, put on your psychic thinking cap. Where are the car keys?"
That's rad that psychic powers run in your family, because for me it's just depression.
Yeah. Well, I think they kind of go hand in hand.
Sure. I'm sure they do.
And so then, my sister could be look in the chair, and then we would go and find him in the chair. It was pretty.
So useful.
Yeah, it's very useful. Or it's just a common place to lose your keys. Probably that too. But I guess the barn burner story is like I said, psychic powers and depression go hand in hand. My mom was manic depressive, abusive. I didn't really get along with her that well. And then after 10 years of not seeing her, I decided to go back and visit Ma. And I'm just kind of hanging out in her bedroom, and she's looking through old stuff to show me things. And I see a certificate on her wall from the police department of Noble, Oklahoma, which is a town 20 miles south of where I grew up. And I'm like, "Why do you have a certificate on your wall from the Noble, Oklahoma Police Department?" And she was like, "Oh, the sheriff came and visited me, and I helped him find a body."
Just typical.
Like she had a friend that lived in Noble, and there was like a missing persons case, and like she knew the sheriff, and she was like, "You should go talk to my friend Ann up in the city and see if she can help you." And my mom described like the entrance to some property with like a trestle and stuff like that, and the sheriff was like, "I know where that is," and he went there and found a dead girl in a ditch.
Wow.
And then they, on government paper, they went, "Thank you for helping us find this body with your psychic powers."
Did
And
it
gave her a
actually say
certificate.
psychic
No, it didn't say, it didn't say that. It was
okay.
just like, thanks for
Yeah.
being a helpful citizen. Is
Yeah.
basically what it said.
Yeah.
So that's like a weird story.
Yeah. 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 By a round of applause, how many people have psychic powers that run through their family? Oh, fuck. All right.
There we go.
I guess that's like a moderately common thing. Great. Good for you
I
guys.
feel like I'm in the movie Scanners right now, just waiting to be attacked. See if my head starts swelling up.
Yeah.
But I've never seen a ghost. I've always wanted to see a ghost. I've had encounters where I thought it might be a ghost or got creeped out, but I just think my brain was fried on drugs is really what it was. And I don't know. One story I didn't tell you is one time I had some friends that were security guards, and there was like a giant hotel in downtown Oklahoma City that was condemned because it was like the foundation had cracked, so it was an unsafe building. It was a huge building though, and a really old hotel. And some of my friends worked as security guards, and so they were there to guard it. And I would just go hang out with them because I didn't have anything better to do. And like we would do sweeps as if I was also a security guard for like see if there's anybody hanging out, homeless people in the hotel and stuff like that. And you can do the math. It's a hotel that only partially has power, and it's huge, and you're going through darkened hotel rooms of like an ancient hotel. It got really creepy. I won't say anything happened. But definitely I would start to go into a room to look around with a flashlight and be like, I'm not going to do this room. I'm just going to back out.
Just kind of fade into the background.
And there was like a ballroom, and I'm going to guess people had dragged mattresses out of about, 100 rooms and piled them into like the dance hall. So like it was an entire floor of just old mattresses that you could just go and like bouncy house on. It was pretty dope. Or ghosts did it. I don't know. I didn't know.
It was probably ghosts.
It was
most
probably
likely.
ghosts. They like to drag mattresses, I hear.
Just be reasonable.
Yeah. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah, we didn't have an adventure on the podcast that I recorded. We basically just talked about psychic powers and LSD and stuff like that. So
Yeah. It's a pretty good one.
Yeah. It was pretty cool though.
Yeah. I'm glad you had fun.
Anything
Hey,
else?
how about that? That's for James Barela.
Anything else? Have we reached our time limit or anything like that? I don't know. I will say the security, the guys, the security guards. That's when I learned that like dweebs come in every shape and form. They were like nerds. They were like, I don't know, like these security guards. Just imagine like a guy who he plays D&D, but then he also just eats MREs for fun. That kind of guy. Yeah, and like so they were all like.
What's an MRE? Sorry.
It's a meal ready to eat. It's like an army thing.
Gotcha.
So you rip it open. And,
I haven't been in the army.
Yeah, I haven't either. Yeah, it's like military rations, I guess.
Yeah, great.
And so like with me and there was a few other guys there, and like other D&D fellow dweebs, and like when we would do sweeps, like they would bring like throwing stars and like nunchucks going through, with real security guards.
That's useful.
And like I just looked around and I like grabbed like a plunger just to make fun of them. Like, I'm gonna do the sweep with a plunger. Okay, let's go, fucking samurai sword guy. Me, you, we're gonna go do the fucking sweep for fucking ghosts and homeless people. But yeah, nerds in every way, shape, and form.
Well, that is very all-inclusive. Thank you for that perspective.
Cool.
Give it up for James Barela. He's a psychic. It's in the blood.
Thanks, everybody.
My next comic came with me to the site of what was once the Lotus Isle amusement park. Give it up for Dan Weber.
Was the largest one. It was the largest amusement park in America at the time.
Thank you.
Gotta give you all the. It's nothing. There's nothing there now. Like it's where Jansen Beach is. Like, do you know the island or whatever? Half that island was one amusement park, and the other half of the island was a different amusement park.
Competing.
It was in the 50s or whatever.
Something like that.
Yeah.
20s.
20s and 30s, I think, actually.
20s. Yeah.
Supposedly people died there, and there's hauntings, but. We didn't see shit.
Yeah, but the most important element, I think, of our episode, we can both agree, is Tusco. Tusco the elephant.
Tusco the elephant. So this guy who was like this weird, like, charlatan or whatever, like he was a con artist, he bought an African elephant from the Seattle Zoo, because they wanted to get rid of it because some guy was abusing the elephant, and but prior to that, they had fed it 3 gallons of moonshine. So Tusco was fucking drunk. And then this guy...
already a belligerent elephant, sober.
Yeah, but like, so the guy was fucking with Tusco, so Tusco picked him up with his trunk and threw him against the wall. It was like, fuck off. And they're like, all right, we got to sell Tusco.
Yeah.
So they sold him to the amusement park, who did not learn the lesson that they should have from Tusco getting drunk in Seattle. So they got Tusco drunk again, except this time Tusco just fucked up the whole amusement park. He just got drunk and went on a fucking rampage.
Yeah.
Which is tight as shit. Like, that's...
And I'll mention that, like, all African elephants are enormous, but Tusco was, like, especially enormous.
Yeah, it was the average is like 1,200 pounds, and Tusco was 20,000 pounds. He was
something like that.
Yeah, he was a fucking huge...
Yeah. Enormous. Belligerent
drunk elephant.
Yeah.
Also, like...
And, like, this really happened. Like, this is history.
Yeah, but he didn't kill anybody, which is the amazing part.
Yeah.
No, there was no hauntings because Tusco stomped some human out of existence. He actually did it twice. Like, he did it once. Then they were like, all right, we got to keep... They kept Tusco for some fucking reason. And then a plane crashed into one of their amusement park rides and set Tusco off on another fucking rampage that the amusement park never recovered from. Like, that was the end of it, pretty much. Yeah, they had a roller coaster that was the size of it was a mountain. It was like 200 feet tall, and some biplane just smashed right into it. And so Tusco was like, "Oh, I guess we're crushing shit again." Fuck yeah.
That's his cue.
I'm good at this.
Yes.
They also, the amusement park, it was only built because these guys were like, because Jansen Beach used to have the largest amusement park in the country, and these like 3 guys were like, fuck that, we can do better. So they built one that was like 2 acres larger. Yeah. And it looked like there was one, like the bumper cars were in...
It's a bulldog's face on the outside. It was like, okay, so basically these people that bought Lotus Isle, they had no business running an amusement park. They wanted to make money. Yeah. So like, we're going to compete with Jansen Beach, that's doing pretty well. We're going to make it a little bit bigger and compete with them, and then we're going to try to flip it. Well, it didn't work. They couldn't flip it. So they had to actually make the amusement park. And they just came up with the most random fucking things they could.
Yeah. Like, they had a recreation of the Eiffel Tower at the entrance that was 200 feet tall, made entirely of neon tubing that you could see in downtown Portland from Jansen Beach.
Unfortunately, they took down. Like, why?
They took it all down, which is fucking dumb. Leave that shit up. Yeah. It looked like an amusement park that had been created by David Lynch. Like, it was like,
absolutely.
And you're like, hey man, let's just make a Fire Walk with Me the amusement park.
Yes.
And then they did.
Yeah, which was amazing. They should have left it, because that would have been the coolest place ever.
Yeah, like it would be literally the most visited thing in Portland right now. Like if they'd left that amusement park there, like Portland would have been weird the whole time.
Right.
Like we were weird back then, and then we had a period of time where we just did heroin, and then we got weird again. So
Yeah.
that was a mistake on our part. But yeah, Tusco, man, fucking greatest elephant that ever lived, as far as I'm concerned.
Definitely the star of our episode. Possibly the star of the entire podcast.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, one guy, there was one of the supposed ghosts, this kid was on the roller coaster and then was thrown from the roller coaster into the Columbia River, which I have a problem with.
Yeah.
Because I don't see how that's fucking possible. Because if a roller coaster is going fast, it's going down. So if you fell out of a roller coaster, you just plummet straight into, you just spike into the ground. You wouldn't fly up in the air. So I think the kid just jumped. He was like, I want to impress some girl. I'm going to show her. Dove out of it. And then he died, and then one of the owners killed himself 2 days later.
Yeah, because he felt that was his fault,
Felt
I guess,
bad,
somehow.
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
They also had a ballroom that was they were worried about people breaking in to steal like fixtures and shit, so they put wire frame all the way around it and then electrified the fuck out of that. So like if you touched it, you would die. Like it was, and then they were just like, go ahead and dance. You're staying here all night. We're gonna just dance. Close the doors. You can't get out.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I think they caught at least one hobo. Kind of a hobo catcher. They didn't want the homeless people sleeping in there, so
No.
you can't climb the. You're just looking at an innocent-looking fence, and then you're fucking dead. Like
Immediately.
And then it burned down. Like that.
Yeah,
that burned down,
that's
right? It burned down
Which
completely.
is so shocking.
Yeah. I just think a hobo caught on fire and then lit the place on fire. That's what I think happened. Some homeless guy tried to climb in and just burned up. Yeah. So that was. I mean, but honest, like I wanted to see something creepy, but Jansen Beach is the least creepy place in Oregon. Like it's just fucking douchey. It was like it's just a bunch of like houseboats.
Yeah.
Rich people in houseboats and big screen TVs. That was
Yeah.
it. That's all we saw.
Yeah. So as you can tell, there's a lot of really exciting things that happen on
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah. It's mostly the hunt for something dope, and then sometimes, but not on my
Mostly just
episode.
kinda giggle
I was the
about it. Thank
scariest thing in that park. It's pretty much
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
We startled several people while we were walking around. I came out of the darkness
Yeah.
like, fuck!
Yeah. You have two stories.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Which one do you guys want to hear about? You want to hear about nearly dying or the throne of Satan? Throne of Satan? All right.
Unanimous.
So, back in the day, I used to do a lot of drugs. I used to do a lot of acid. And,
Which I know is
Fuck
shocking.
yeah. I know,
mean,
look at me. This looks like somebody that's never done a drug before.
No,
I get
but
it.
believe it or not.
So one night, we met this guy. He comes, like we're just hanging out in this park, and this dude comes walking up. He's not wearing a shirt. He's got long, flowing blonde hair. He looked like hippie Adonis, and he just walked up. He had like beautiful blue eyes, like the most beautiful man I've seen probably in my entire life. Just comes walking up. He's like, "Hey guys, you want to do acid with me?" And we're all like, "Fuck yes! Like this is gonna be amazing." So we do acid with what probably was Charles Manson and some guy who wanted to become a cult leader or whatever. And we're hanging out, and then at one point, he's like, "Hey man, let's go to the pumice pits." And I don't know if you guys have been to Bend. There used to be a pumice mine there, which is just a light, like white rock. So, and it looked like being on the surface of the moon. And it was a moonless night. So we're walking through this area, and he's like, "Hey man, maybe we can find the throne of Satan." And all of us unanimously thought that was the best idea. We're all like, "Fuck yeah. What could possibly go wrong?"
Right.
So we start walking, and we walk for what seemed like way longer than we should have been able to in the pumice pit, because it's not that fucking big. And then we come through into this perfectly circular clearing, and in the middle is this fucking giant basalt rock that's got burn marks on it, and it looks kind of like a throne that's been melted a little bit. And it's huge. It's like fucking 12 feet tall or whatever. And so we just staring at it for a second, and then I was like, "Man, we should fucking sit in that shit." And then they're like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we all run up. The woman I'm with, one of the women I was with, ran up and jumped up on the arm of it and then got crouched down and we started chittering like an imp. And she had these weird fucking eyes that like stuck way out. So if you looked at her from the side, you could see through the lenses of her eyes. It was fucking creepy shit. So she's standing there just staring at us through her eye. They're fucking, So we all pretended to be Lucifer for a minute and sat on that throne. And we're like, we're going to make the world a fucking burning hell. And sorry. I think we're responsible for what came next. I mean, it was years ago, so there was a delayed reaction.
That's how that works.
But so we're hanging out and we're just making each other laugh or whatever, pretending to be the devil. And then we started hearing like way off in the distance from the opposite direction, like gibbering, like I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like 1,000 mouths are all mumbling at the same time. And we're like, oh shit, that doesn't sound good. And it's getting closer. And so we're like, I don't want to be here when that gets here. So let's fucking split. So we start running through the woods and then it's getting closer. We could hear it stomping through the fucking brush and moving trees and shit. We get to the car, we fucking peel out. Nobody looks back. We're like, I don't want to see it. Whatever it was, if it came into view, I probably would never recover from looking at it. So we're just gonna forward. Let's just go forward. Went home, went to bed, woke up the next day and decided I'm gonna go find that fucking rock because I was like, that's gotta be there, right? And so I spent the rest of that summer looking through everywhere in that fucking pumice mine, and I never found the area we were at. I don't know what the fuck happened that night. I know we all saw it because we all talked about it again later. Like, so you saw the rock? Yeah, we sat on the throne of the devil. And I'm like, okay, I was high, but probably crazy, but I wasn't that crazy. And I don't know what the fuck happened. I still think about it. Like, every once in a while, I'm just like, Jesus, did I walk into hell and then steal a demon's throne for a minute and then he got pissed? Is that what happened? I don't know. Yeah, troubling to say the least.
Disconcerting.
Yeah, disconcerting.
And awesome.
And
that's awesome.
Pretty dope.
Right.
I had a great time. Acid's fucking rad. In case you didn't know, you can see some real cool shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to hear about that time you nearly died.
Do we have time for that? I don't think we have time for that.
No.
Nope.
Shit.
Well,
Let's hear about next time.
Yeah, next time. Next time
All
I'll
right.
tell the near those story.
Give it up for Dan Weber.
Thanks, everybody.
The Throne of the Devil. So my last comic tonight came with me to the Lovecraft Bar. She's a very funny Portland comic. Give it up for Amanda Arnold.
I'm just gonna let you know there's gonna be coughing. I'm sick. I'm dying.
Oh,
You're welcome.
yeah.
I'm gonna lick your
Amanda
drink.
was good enough to come out even though she's dying of an illness.
Yeah, it's pretty. No, I'm fine. I just have a cough
Okay, great.
and an awesome voice right now.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's like
sexy.
the episode
Okay,
of Friends. You know,
Which
oh, you're
one?
too young.
No,
I forget how much.
I'm
I forget how
11,
much
so
younger
it's-
than me you are.
Yeah.
Words. There was an episode where Phoebe couldn't sing. Well, she can't sing in any of the episodes, and then she gets a cold, and she gets a voice like this, and then she can sing.
Oh, I see.
And there it is.
Perfect.
Okay, moving
All
on.
right, so we're gonna kill it. So Amanda and I went to. Have you guys been to the Lovecraft Bar in Portland? It's a horror-themed nightclub. It's pretty fun. If you haven't gone, you should go. It's very exciting.
How I had never been there. I'm 39. I'm from here. Like I am from Portland, and I had never even seen the door. It was like the gateway to Hogwarts. Like it was just like we had to run at the door and hope that we melted through it.
that's
I'd
how we
never
got
seen
in.
it. I didn't know it was there.
Yeah, it was platform 9 3/4. I was with you. Yeah.
Oh, you got
It
that
is-
reference.
Harry Potter. That's my time. It is kind of hidden, like where it is. I think they said they just put the sign up like in the last few years or something.
Yeah, you would never
Yeah.
know. It's down by like my father's place on
Yeah.
Grand.
Yeah. So we we did our episode in the middle of the day, but when you walk in there, it could be any time of day or night. It is so
It was like
dark.
5,000 degrees that day too. Like it was, I think it was like 101 that day. And
It was
this
great.
one's like, I love the heat. And I'm like, I'm the color of canned ham. I hate this. And we get there and we walk in and it was like Vegas is what it's kind of like. You know when you're in Vegas and you're like, it's anytime. And then you go outside and you're like, oh my God, I'm dying. Like we walked in and it was ice cold. And it looked like, I don't know, like one of the vampires from Twilight like joined a metal band and went through a breakup and then was like, I'm gonna buy a bar. And that's pretty much what it looked like.
Yeah.
And the guy that showed us around, there was a lot of controversy over, he didn't want us to say who he was, but then we started the episode and then he's like, I kind of do want to tell stories and talk. Yeah. And he was like more my age, a little bit older than me, old Hesher, like he remembered the City nightclub, and he and I kind of went on a dork battle about like old school Portland and bands and stuff, and you just stood there and looked pretty, and it was great. Like it
I
was
was
awesome.
born in 1990.
Yeah, I was like,
Thank you.
we're friends now.
And we're best friends. Yeah.
Best friends.
Yeah.
No, it was cool. We walked in. It was super dark. Like, literally, it's brighter in here now,
Yeah, easily.
easily than it was, and it feels creepy in there.
It does. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there are so there's a lot of like Lovecraft type emblems and stuff, but then there was
Cthulhu.
like Cthulhu, and he started pointing out stuff, and there's these tiny little caskets, which there is nothing creepier to me in all of ghost, monster, horror movie, all that shit than kids, like little creepy kids, and that's actually what my story is about. At the end of this is
Love it.
little creepy kids, but they have two caskets on each end of the bar that are from the 1920s, and they're real kids caskets.
Yeah.
And you and I both had the same thought at the same time. We were like, ooh, are they used?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and then he looked at us like we're fucking crazy, and he was like, well, no, there's a health violation. They can't be used.
well, I'm sorry that you're real caskets, like that we have
Right.
questions about, and those are just two of the 4 or 5 caskets they have there.
something like that.
Yeah, they have real like adult-sized caskets that you can take selfies
You can
in.
take selfies in them. They're very comfortable.
Oh,
wait, the secret one upstairs was
they
really
just
comfortable.
look like they'd been ran through. Like they look like
You're
things.
like, I think your words exactly were, someone's fucked in here.
Somebody has fucked in these caskets.
Yeah.
That's like the first thing you think. You're not like, ooh, creepy, it's a casket. You're like, oh, somebody got pregnant in here. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
And that's somebody's story. Like, where were you?
Yeah.
Mom, where was I conceived? Well, it was after a KMFDM concert, and it was 2001. We did a bunch of Molly, and boom, there you are in a casket.
There you are.
I could go dirtier with that, but I'm not
You
gonna.
start in a casket, you end in a casket, probably, if they're traditional, I guess.
That is profound.
That is so profound. That's beautiful.
You shouldn't
them.
end in a casket. That's such a.
No, it's so ancient.
Caskets are rackets.
They're so expensive.
Yeah, they're.
Just get cremated.
Do you ever listen to The Good Death?
No. Yeah, you told me to. Sorry.
Yeah, you need to get on. So if you guys aren't listening, The Good Death is on YouTube. She's great too, and she's a mortician that tells you about all these different aspects of like death and like what a fucking rip off a lot of it is. The caskets that are like airtight. Mm-hmm. So when you go in, I don't know if you guys have been to a mausoleum, but like I have a bunch of family in Riverview Abbey up on the West Hills. So sometimes you'll see like the walls a little kilter, and a lot of times what that's from is that with the caskets that are sealed, all the gas when you start decomposing builds up in the casket, and then it pops, boom, pops, and it'll knock the thing on the front of the niche is what they're called, a little kilter off.
So it takes the whole wall sideways?
It's not a wall. Have you ever been to? Can we do an episode of Riverview Abbey?
Sure.
Will you have me back for that?
Yeah.
Stop by, say hi to my grandparents.
Yeah.
Cool.
Can they say hi to us? Because that would make the show really cool.
That's my grandpa that cut his hand off in the meat grinder. Like,
So he probably can't.
okay. That's all. Okay, sorry. I talk a lot. So we went for walks around the bar. A guy died in the wall there.
Oh, yeah. A homeless guy somehow got himself into... He was found dead within the wall of Lovecraft. We don't have any context.
It's when they were remodeling.
When they were remodeling. So either he was dying and went to a comfortable place to die,
Like
or...
a cat under a porch.
Yeah, right.
We go on a whole rant about that.
Yeah.
It's a good our episode's good.
It's really good.
Yeah, because he's like, well, we don't know if he was like trying to get in because it was wintertime and he was cold.
Maybe he
or she's
froze.
like, or maybe he was just crawling in because he was dying.
Like a basset hound under a tree or something.
And then I thought about it. What if he was like, like Santa Claus dad that tries to come down the chimney, and like they're like, Dad went out for cigarettes and he never came back, but really he was dressed up like Santa Claus and he's dead in the chimney, Yeah. And then we talked about how delicious meat smells when it cooks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good episode. It's very tasteful.
It's very tasteful.
I guess that's the wrong word to use when you're talking about like your dad smelling like meat. Tasteful.
Yeah, tasteful.
All right, what's your ghost story about kids? I gotta hear it.
Okay, so like I said, I grew up here. When I was like, I don't know, just old enough to remember, maybe I was like 3 or 4, we lived up by Happy Valley, by the big cemetery up there. And our backyard, it was like land and then the cemetery. And our house kind of sat up on a hill. And me and my brother and my cousin were kind of on the back porch. And my grandma used to tell us about, she was born in 1912 on an Indian reservation. And she used to tease us and tell us about these things called Pudawans, which if anybody can find anything on the internet about Pudawans, please find me on the internet and send that to me because I can't find it. But anyway, Pudawans were supposed to be like little kid, poltergeisty, like mischievous little entities. Well, we were all sitting out there. It was raining really hard, and you can see these 2 kids walk up out in the yard, and they have raincoats on. And we're like, my brother and my cousin are older, and I kind of don't know what's going on. I'm still pretty young, and I barely remember this. But they're like, "Who are these kids? This is weird." And they had just like bright, like slick jackets on. I don't remember what color they were. But then the kids, my brother was like, "Hey," my brother was like 8, and the kids looked up, and they had like bright yellow eyes, and they giggled and ran into the woods.
Ew.
And that's it. That's the whole story.
Like cats, how it like reflects yellow.
Yeah, when cats are scared or stimulated.
Hello.
There's some people you can't just say some words in front of.
Yeah, that's me. That's casual sex. It's the theme of the night.
Yeah, and they just looked up and they were like, "Hee," and like ran into the woods, and we never
How
saw
many
them
kids?
again. 2.
2 of them.
But why do these kids got glowy eyes?
Because they're demons.
And then also when my mom passed away when I was 15, and if you've ever had anybody that you live with that dies, there's like this hustle of people that come to your house for like a couple, well, if people love you, they come and they bring food and stuff, and there's always people there. And then one day just like nobody shows up. So it's just me and my dad, and we're chilling, and we're watching Scarface, of all things. Because, it's what you do with
As
your
you
dad
do.
when you're 15.
Right.
And all of a sudden, and she died in November. This is like November 14th, so it's probably the end of November. So all the windows are closed, to my point. There's no like breeze or anything. And the whole room like just fills up with the smell of her perfume. And then we both look at each other, and my dad's like, "You smell that?" I was like, "Yep." And then we just watched the end of Scarface when he's like, "Say hello to my little friend." And we just never talked about it again. But like it was like she had sprayed her perfume in her face. So
Wow.
whatever that is.
That's awesome.
I have an addition to that, but I think we're out of time. Randall's back there like
Yelling at us.
flashing the light at us.
His yellow eyes are glowing back.
Yeah.
Chittering in the back.
I want to dress up like one of those kids for Halloween.
Yeah, you should. Let's both do it. There's 2.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm into it.
Okay.
Great. Okay, so we're gonna introduce all these other comics back onto the stage, and we're gonna do a little bit of a panel, if that's cool with you guys.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Yeah. All right. Let's hear it for these comics.
I like these big game show microphones we got. Like
They're color coordinated.
Come
Do you
on
notice that?
down. $1. Am I supposed to stand? What are we doing here?
All right. So we got 10 minutes, and we're just gonna fucking wing it.
Okay.
Great.
Do you want to hear the other part of the dead mom thing?
Yeah. Talk
Okay,
about your dead
so
mom.
the one that I'm like, do you want me to talk more? Because I can. So the eclipse, like I kind of talked shit about the eclipse when we had it. Were you guys in Portland for the eclipse? Like, and the cool, weird, sparkly shit on the ground that was like drugs, but it wasn't. It was really cool. So I was a vet tech, and we were on Sandy, And it was weird because it was like nighttime and if you guys have been on Sandy Boulevard, it's like traffic all the time.
Yep.
There was no traffic. It was completely silent. And right across from the clinic, there's a Wendy's. And we could see these two kids. Well, they were kids. They were like in their 20s, smoking pot and watching the eclipse. And they were on drugs of some sort. And so right when the sun is coming back, fucking stuff's moving, it's getting bright again. The car comes barreling into the parking lot of the vet clinic. And he yells at me. He's like, "Hey, Cheryl." And that was my mom's name. And I was just like, whatever, coincidence. And I was like, that's not my name. He's like, "Man, I was friends with somebody. Her name was Cheryl, and you look just like her." I look just like my mom. And he was like, "It's cool. You're going to be fine. You know you're going to be fine, right?" And I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? And then they just drove off. And like, I get goosebumps talking about it right now. My friend looks at me, and she's like, "That was weird, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then my next 3 appointments after that, my job was to like set up the room for the people coming and bringing their animals in. All 3 of the women that came in were named Cheryl after that.
What? No way.
Mom stopped by. She was like,
Yeah.
"Deuces, sorry about taking all those somas and Valiums in the 90s.
Hey.
Sorry.
Peace out.
Peace out."
Here's another squirt of perfume in your face.
And it was
See you
shitty
later.
patchouli from like Bath and
Yeah,
Body
right? Like,
Works.
what a fucking dick move. Like, that's
Yeah.
that's not cool. Like,
She smelled like a dirty hippie. Nobody wants to smell that.
Oh, well, maybe. Were the Grateful Dead in town that day? Did just have a horde of hippies walk past your
it was
house?
fish.
Oh, so okay, yeah.
Boo.
Fish.
Do you want a microphone?
I
Oh,
like
you-
dirty hippie smell. I like that patchouli, sandalwood, 100-year-old funk bullshit. That's,
Yeah.
I like sandalwood, but
It
not-
smells like other perfume dye. That's what patchouli smells like. The rotting corpse of other perfume.
like failed perfume. Like
Yeah.
we tried. We tried. It smelled better when there weren't other options.
Yeah.
Like,
This is the one we picked.
you can't take a bath for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This smells better than that. Like,
Yeah.
this smells better than.
I'm gonna say that. I mean, I honestly can't recognize patchouli without the smell of BO underneath it.
Right? Or dirty hair, like that greasy,
Yeah, 'cause
like
I
14.
lived in Eugene for a minute, so.
You know what that smell reminds me of? Is, do you remember, like, I don't know if guys will remember this because you guys were the ones that smelled like it, but when you were like 15 and you started going over to guys' house when their parents were gone, and their pillows in their bedrooms always smell like dirty hair. Like, you're like,
That was Drakkar Noir. That's why.
Jakar reminds me
High
of
karate. That's what we were.
Jakar reminds me
back
of
then.
dirty cleats. My brother sprayed it in his baseball cleats. So every time I hear it smell Jakar, I'm like, ugh, dirty feet.
What? Why did he spray
Cologne
into his
cleats.
cleats?
Yeah,
Because they smelled like shit, so it was like the
Because-
next
Yeah.
best thing.
Yeah.
There's this shit called disinfectant that'll do the. What the fuck, man?
Baby
Your
powder.
brother crazy.
The
There's-
smell of high school sports does not come out like without an exorcism. That shit, like, I can still.
I kind of
Football.
like
My
that.
brother played football in high school, and like I was one of the water girls for the team and shit. And that smell is still like in my brain.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't.
I
oh,
love that
God.
you were a water girl for a wrestling team.
Wait, she said
Football,
football. What
football,
are you
yeah.
thinking about?
I wanted it to be wrestling.
The water girl for the wrestling team.
I taped a few hamstrings. You know?
Yeah, there's no rumors about that girl.
Degrading.
Let's get in that starting position.
In my high school football, a lot of the players were having sex with one of the coaches, and like I just remember
That's,
she would be rapping. She would be rapping.
You could probably
their
still
feet.
press charges for that.
She'd be wrapping their ankles and stuff, and I just remembered.
oh.
Yeah, it was a female coach, and
It's fine.
Oh, so it's fine. It's
It
fine.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Sexist
Come on,
too.
2018.
Doesn't
Come on.
matter.
Was she
Who
hot?
cares?
Like,
Do you know if she identifies as she? It's fine.
She's a chemistry teacher, and she was like missing some teeth and stuff. I don't know.
Sexy.
But like, I just remember
Meth.
tripping out. I was like one of the younger players. I didn't keep with it, but I just remember watching her wrap their feet, and they were just like playing with her boobies with their feet, as like, yeah,
like big old sweaty teen
big
babies.
sweaty high school eating fried chicken feet.
Oklahoma, everybody. Give it up for Oklahoma.
Give it up.
The least surprising story to come out of Oklahoma. A toothless teacher fucks high school kids. Weird. I can't imagine.
She didn't fuck him. She
Teaches
just gave him weird foot fetish
chemistry.
shit.
No, you said they were fucking.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't actually
A
witness
bunch
it,
of
but that's what was. But
Oh, they were just
said
bragging
that.
about it?
Other people were talking.
Yeah,
about
then they
it.
did
They,
that.
were,
Why-
they were very big.
High school bragging about sex is
Why
fucking
did you never
pathetic.
get tapped in on that? Like, where you were like, so I think I do want to join one of the teams. Like,
It was very
but
shocking.
we've gone awry. We've gone awry.
Then he goes, well, 2018.
Right?
Hey, teachers all fuck kids now. 2018, stop being a prude. You can just have.
Well, as soon as he said it was a woman, I mean, come on. Like,
Yeah, that's why everybody freaked out. The female coach. She was also
so
very good at
anyway,
softball. So, I have a note about your story.
Yeah.
Like, did you think that the noises, like, the first thing I thought of was like a family of ducks waddling through, like, oh,
Well, did I try to figure out what it could have actually been?
Yeah,
No. I just assumed it was some Lovecraftian nightmare that was charging out of the woods. I didn't even. I mean, it didn't occur to us then for sure.
yeah.
And I really only thought of it in terms of a demon ever since.
What about-
It's much cooler if it's a demon. I don't want it to be ducks.
yeah.
Fuck that.
Do
What if
you
they're
guys have
demon
questions
ducks?
about any of our stories?
Yeah.
Q&A
Yeah.
with the filmmaker.
Oh, they're like, oh, fuck, they're talking to us.
Not all at once.
Or questions about life or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Questions about
specifically.
anything.
You want this group of winners to fucking tell you how to do your,
Yeah,
use your
I mean-
life?
So
Hey,
we can
Dan,
basically talk
how
about
did you
dating,
almost
drugs,
die?
or ghosts.
How did
What do
I
you
almost
need?
die?
Yeah, let's hear
How
it.
did you almost die? That's what I want to know.
Oh, yeah. That's a good story.
Oh,
Nearly.
well, I was dead for 15 minutes,
So you died.
right?
Because you had
I saw that.
That's about, that's about 15 minutes longer than you want. I had a heart defect. I was born with it, called WBW. You have 2 electrical pathways in your heart instead of 1. Most of the time they're in sync, but when they get out of sync, they just chase one another, and it feels like your heart rate goes way the fuck up. So that happened to me. I go to the hospital, and they're asking me all these questions, right? Because for some reason, like even if your heart is going ape shit, the insurance guy still has to get his like pint of blood or whatever. So he's like, "Oh, where do you work?" I'm like, "Fuck off! Like I don't. Could you fix my heart first, then we'll handle all this fucking book work, whatever."
He's like, hey, Tin Man, you got insurance?
Yeah, exactly. Also, I went to a hospital called Eastmoreland Hospital. Anybody who's a longtime Portlander knows that was called East Morgland back in the day because so many people just went there and died. It's a dormitory for Reed College now. Like they just shut that
Ooh.
fucking place down.
That's where we need to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where the good drugs are. So, so I'm in the hospital, and they keep asking me. The insurance guy is also trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. So he's like, "Hey, where do you live? What's your phone number? How much cocaine have you done tonight?" And I'm like, "Fucking none. I didn't do any cocaine. I'd have told you if I did." He said, "Oh, it makes sense, you know." And then so he asked me a couple more questions. So how much cocaine? He's trying to fucking trick me into giving it away or whatever. And then they give me this drug called verapamil, which you only give to people who have overdosed on cocaine. Which means they did not believe me at all.
I'm just saying,
done
if
it.
you don't have insurance, you probably don't have money for cocaine.
Yeah. Right? So what it does is it lowers your blood pressure. And if you're on cocaine, why that fixes you right up.
Right.
But if you're not, then it just kills you. So I was laying in bed, and they had been kind enough to put the EKG machine right where I could fucking see it, which is really cool when your heart's going crazy.
The worst video game ever.
Yeah. At first, it looks like a fucking Richter 7 earthquake. It's just like all the way across. It's 165 beats per minute. They give me the drugs, and then the doctor's like, "Yeah, this will fix you right up," which is, AK, you're gonna fucking die. And then it goes up to 310 beats per minute, but it's like really small and like this weird sine wave. And then I watched myself
Tachycardic.
flatline, just like, bing! And I'm glad I didn't die because my last words very well could have been, "That doesn't look good at all."
Power up! Power up!
And then I close my, and then I come to, like I blink, and I'm in a junior high classroom, painted government peach, There's
You were
somebody-
junior high age.
This is my near-death experience. This is what happened. This is where I went. I went to a junior high classroom.
Okay.
Fuck.
And I'm in a wraparound desk, and the person who is the doctor on staff, is standing at the front. There's a chalkboard there. It's covered with all this bullshit, and she's pounding on the chalkboard with a pointer. So I'm frantically trying to write down. It's hexagrams and stars and shit. So I don't know what the fuck it is. I'm trying to write it down anyway. And I come to. They're doing CPR on me, so they're kicking the shit out of me. I close my eyes again, and I'm back in the classroom. And there's one main difference, which is there's a crow wearing a graduation cap, sitting on top of the fucking chalkboard, and he just mean-mugging me, just like, fuck you. And he's mad at me for some reason. And then I come to again, and then they hit me with the paddles, and it was like, bzzzt, out.
Just a cap, he wasn't wearing spats.
Nope. No, not at all. No. And,
Pro cum laude.
Came to.
Wasn't looking at a lollipop trying to get to the center of the Tootsie Roll.
No, it wasn't that fucking owl. It was a crow. That would have been Woodsy the fucking owl.
It would have been awesome if it would have been the crow from The Crow.
It's the crow. I mean, if I'd have died, I could have come back and fight crime and Portland.
Exactly. That's exactly
Should
what
have
I'm
fucking
saying.
let him take that.
Fuck yes.
Fire it up. You know what I mean? Great fucking movie. Anyway.
It is.
So
I
you
came
think
back-
this is your afterlife? Is your middle school classroom?
I don't know, man. Like,
Is that your hell?
I've met a number of people who have also had near-death experiences, and none of them. Whenever I'm talking to them, they're like, "Yeah, I saw a light at the end of the tunnel." I'm like, "Hack! You had a hack afterlife, you fucking loser!" Like, I went to a junior high classroom. How about that? I'm special. You're an idiot. My brain.
They were all going to heaven.
Yes.
You were not.
I was going to my version of hell.
Hell, yeah.
That'd be my
Which
version
is not
of
a
hell.
junior high classroom.
Really?
It would be a Mumford and Sons concert. If I was going to go to hell, it would just be me listening to a bunch of people play banjos for all eternity. Fucking hang myself.
Your
every
roommates
day.
with Adam Levine.
Yeah. It'd be the fucking worst.
That'd be awesome for me.
So I don't know. Like I lived, and then.
Good job on that, by the way.
And they fucked me up real bad. It like took me about a year to recuperate. So if you're gonna die, just stay dead.
Break your ribs and shit like that?
Oh yeah, it fucked me up pretty bad. I had second-degree burns all over my chest from the paddles.
Wow.
Jesus.
The shit is not like in the movies. I can't even. It fucking pisses me off every time I see it. They're like, somebody gets the paddles and then just get up and they're like, oh, thanks. Like, that's not how it works. Like, you explosively shit yourself when you get hit with those paddles, for sure. Like you fucking both ends just black everywhere.
That's
I
rough,
could
man.
use that sometimes.
I
I could use a good cleanse.
You could use a good cleanse. Yeah, man, just fucking have somebody.
Paddle cleanse clinic.
Dude, Helium has a set of them.
yeah.
They have an emergency set of paddles. You can just crack that open. Give yourself a cleanse in the bathroom.
I had to take a class to learn how to use those at the call center I worked at.
Just take your shirt off so it'll melt to your skin.
This is just a random thought, but in junior high, I don't know why this reminded me of this. You said junior. I played Anne Frank in the play in junior high. Yeah, you're all quiet, you guys.
played Anne Frank?
I was Anne Frank in the play in junior high.
You just hit under the stage the whole time?
There's the tag. There's the tag. Thank you. No, I don't know if nobody else applied or I was an acting genius, but when I went home, I was like, Mom, I got the lead in the play, and she's like, who were you playing? And I was like, Anne Frank, and she was like, huh.
A starving Jewish girl. Okay.
I've looked the same since
You went
birth.
to Estacada High School. There weren't any
No,
Jews.
I did not. I went to Putnam. My dad married a lady from Estacada. I'm married into that incest.
Anyway, so we're laughing in the dark. We go to haunted places. We got a little off topic. You
Sorry.
should let's do it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us.
X-Ray FM, Casual Sex, Kelly's Olympian. Thank you. Thank you guys for coming.
You're welcome.
Give it up for these comics.
I have a podcast called What's More Metal. I do it with Noriko Ott, who is Portland's funniest person in 2016.
Awesome.
Yes.
What's More Metal?
And we just go through, we just pick a topic like World War II battle or ice cream or flour and then we decide what the most metal of those things are. It's super fun. It's very filthy. If you're easily offended, please don't listen.
Yeah.
It gets fucking weird.
It's really good though.
It's
but
so
we're gonna
good.
start
It
doing
really
it live
is.
at Funhouse Lounge every Wednesday
Yes.
night at 10.
Yes.
That'll tone it down a lot. We won't probably talk about sticking a flashlight in a teddy bear, anytime
Which is
soon.
my story. I love
Yeah.
that you guys talked about
Yeah.
that. I didn't. No, hold on. That sounds weird. I did not. Shit.
No, it
You'll
sounds
have
great.
to
It's fine.
Listen
Yeah.
to the podcast.
Oh,
listen to the
episode.
podcast.
It's a director's and I don't remember what the other one was.
I also have a podcast coming out that'll be coming in October called The Stand Up Diet. We have amazing. It's all food and comedy. Big surprise. But we have awesome guests like Shane Moss and Guy Obelum, Jessa Reed, Caitlin Warehouser, Noriko Ott. It's going to be awesome. I will also be at Harvey's headlining the third weekend of this month, and then I will be at Helium second weekend of next month. So come watch me talk at you some more. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
I ain't got no podcast, but I got a show every Sunday at the Slide In called
Which is a
Sincerity
great
is
show.
Gross.
It's a great
I book
show.
these comics.
Yes.
So if you're in Portland, if listeners, pod ears out there, every Sunday.
And Becky has a great show too called Becky with the Good Jokes.
I'm the one other comedian in the world who does not have a podcast. I have no plans
Get
to
your
create a
shit
podcast
together.
anytime soon. I do have a monthly show called Becky with the Good Jokes. It's at the Funhouse Lounge, typically the last Saturday of the month, but shit changes, gets moved around. This month, we're going to be at the All Jane Comedy Festival.
Woo.
No one hearing this is going to be in the past, but last month in September, we had a great show at the All Jane Comedy Festival. It was magical. Stay tuned for that shit.
Thank you so much, you guys.
All right, thank you very much.
I want to be in your podcast, Amanda. Thanks. This is how the industry works, guys. I do.
So there it is, my first ever live show for Laughing in the Dark. Here's to many more. Actually, we were invited to perform for the Portland Podcast Festival. If you live in Portland, come check out Laughing in the Dark and some other amazing Portland podcasts at the festival live. It should be a lot of fun, and I would love to see you there. We'll be at the Landmark Saloon on Friday, November 9th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Tickets are $10. Make sure to grab your tickets now because this event will sell out. You can get your tickets at pdxpodfestival.com. That's pdxpodfestival.com. Make sure to check out all the work from the comics featured in this episode. If you're in the Portland area, check out Becky Braunstein's monthly show, Becky with the Good Jokes, at the Funhouse, usually every last Saturday of the month. And James Barela's show every Sunday at the Slide In called Sincerity is Gross. Keep an eye out for Becky Braunstein's episode on unprotected sets on Epix. Whether you're in Portland or all the way across the planet, make sure you check out Dan Weber's podcast, What's More Metal, and Amanda Arnold's podcast, The Stand-Up Diet. Special thanks to Kelly's Olympian for having us, Casual Sex Podcast for inviting us, Brian Wallen and Randall Lawrence, the producers, everyone who came out to support our first ever live show, and all of you for listening. We had so much fun.